This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And today, we are going to be talking about the NBA playoffs and the NBA draft. We'll start off with playoff talk. Can the Pelicans defeat the Warriors? Then we'll go into our reoccurring segment, the Wet Boys segment of the week. Then we'll go to two draft topics. We're talking the needs for the Sacramento Kings and the needs for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Before we jump into those topics, though, a little bit of housekeeping. Check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. We had two Patreons last week. We had coming onto the podcast. I can't talk today. Pat coming in to talk about Trae Young, and then we had Jake talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. So if you want to be on any of our podcasts, whether it's the Onside Kick, the Rick and Johnny podcast, the Patreon podcast, the Fast Break, or the Primetime podcast, head over to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast and check out the $10 tier. Also, if you're on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. We love and appreciate the support. We need it if we are going to grow, and we appreciate all the growth we've seen in the past month. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the content that we have coming out. And also, go check out mostvaluablepodcast.com. You can find our shop over there, and you can buy an MVP t-shirt if you feel so inclined to. But boys, let's jump into the first topic, and we're talking about the matchup between the Golden State Warriors and the New Orleans Pelicans, the 2-6 matchup out west. The question is, after the crazy sweep of the New Orleans Pelicans over the Trailblazers, and with Steph Curry being banged up, the question is, do the New Orleans Pelicans have enough to take down the Golden State Warriors?
Honestly, it's a weird situation. I want to say yes so bad to this question. The thing that kills me is Steph Curry's health. I don't know for a fact that he's not going to play throughout this series. It's if it was
he's questionable for game one.
Right. Questionable game one, and I feel like that's really going to set the tone. Like, if the Pelicans come out and play crushing defense and lock them down and win convincingly in game one, I think that sends the whole series into like this weird, like, I'm not going to say panic mode for the Warriors, but like it definitely takes them back a step because this is a Warriors team that's loaded beyond belief. The expectation is when healthy, they're the best team in the league, and now you're getting a game taken off you by the freaking Pelicans, a team who honestly has played incredibly well in the playoffs. I think the weird matchup for me is always going to be, how are the guard play going to match up again? Rondo and Drew locked down CJ and Dame in round one. What can they do in round two?
Well, for me, it's as simple, and the reason why I let you go first, Dave, is no, they're not. And the reason why is I am going to make a prediction. Steph Curry will play game one.
Oh.
Like, you don't come back to practice like he is to sit out game one. Like, the questionable thing, I'm thinking New England Patriots on the NFL side, where it's like, Tom's questionable for this one. No, Steph's going to play. The plan has always been he looked good yesterday. They said that they were going to have him practice today as we're recording this on Friday, see how that goes. I think it's gearing up for him to play game one. And if Steph Curry plays this series, Pelicans might win a game, but it's not going to be a Pelicans win in this series.
I don't know about that. I think we should probably give the Pelicans a little bit more credit. I don't think they'll win the series if we're asking that question. But can this be a 6 or 7 game series? I think there's
without Steph, it can't.
I think there's even with Steph, I think there's the ingredients to cook up a possible deep series for the Warriors and Pelicans. That might be sacrilege because they just lost their first game in the past 2 years in the playoffs to the Spurs. But I still think the ingredients are there for the Pelicans. Again, great guard play, and we saw what they did. Alvin Gentry really keying that game plan to stopping the Portland Trailblazers. If Alvin Gentry is able to do that and at least force Steve Kerr to make a change after game one, that's going to be a big thing. The great guard play again for Drew Holiday, and Niko Mirotic was on fire. We look at Anthony Davis again on fire. So I mean, they've had really great play so far. I think it's just really how will New Orleans come out of the gate after having a long layoff. The question I want to ask though is, what do you think is going to be more important? The mismatch that Anthony Davis will have, because, again, there's no center play down low. And also, I mean, Draymond Green, while he's a great defender, I'm going to take 7-foot Anthony Davis over 6'9" Draymond Green because Anthony Davis is, a couple inches taller and quicker than Draymond Green.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, Draymond has more physicality, but I'm taking Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis probably, top 5 player in the league right now. You could even say top 3. So is the thing that's bigger the Anthony Davis mismatch or is it the Steph Curry injury? What's going to cause more storylines?
I think it's neither of those. To me, the thing that kind of plays the most in this is the
Appreciate it.
The reason why is I think there's a third option that you forgot about is there's a mismatch between the Warriors to the Pelicans in general because, yes, Drew Holiday and Rajon Rondo played phenomenally. Like, Rondo proved me wrong and made me feel like I forgot about playoff Rondo from last year. But the thing I look at is you've got Rondo, who's a shorter guy. You've got Drew Holiday, who's 6'4". Yeah, put one of those on Steph Curry. Great. Can play good defense. All right, who's going to guard Klay Thompson? Who's going to guard Kevin Durant? Are you confident in Nico Mirotic being able to shut one of those down? Like, Drew Holiday being 6'4", it's like Klay's got three, like, what? Like, he's 6'7", and then Durant's 6'9". They both have a height advantage on Drew.
Yeah, but Drew has pretty good wingspan. I'm not super concerned about the guard matchup. I think it really comes down to the mismatch between Nico and KD. Like, that's one that can be taken advantage of. And I know they're playing, Solomon Hill's getting some minutes. They're rolling E'Twaun Moore out there. Like, it's a rotation at small forward.
E'Twaun's small, though.
That's the thing. I don't know that they have anyone who can match up to Kevin Durant to slow him down. I don't know if they're going to have some weird sets where, like, they're going to roll Anthony Davis out there on him. I'm just...
But then who's going to guard Draymond?
Go ahead. Like, if Draymond can shoot you through a series this year, he deserves it. Like, that's my answer. Honestly, like, that's the matchup because I think what Sean said, like, Anthony Davis doesn't have a great... he has the advantage over Draymond by far. He can roll through that offense. I'm not super concerned there. Draymond, good defender. I think he'll probably hold Anthony Davis under 30. But like it's still Anthony Davis. For me, it's that we as Chicago people, we've seen Nico get abused defensively. We know how bad he has been coming off of screens, and no one sets better moving screens than Golden State. So I would be afraid.
Pick and roll.
I would be so afraid of Kevin Durant just taking it to Nico. You have to hide him out there in order to not get abused.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, you bring up the KD one, and that one really didn't think in my mind, even though we're going to talk about him a little bit later for Wet Boys. But I think that's another huge mismatch that I didn't even think of. I mean, so you look at this. I mean, we saw great guard play again from New Orleans, again, shutting down probably one of the best backcourts in the league in CJ and Dame. But again, this is a much more deeper Warrior team.
I mean, even think of the length of Iguodala and Livingston. Chandra Livindala.
Yeah, and JaVale McGee, who's gotten a ton of minutes. Of course, I mean he's playing in the middle. Again, a 7-footer there. I don't know if he's going to be able to match up with Anthony Davis, but still provides a little more length. It seems like again, the Pelicans are red hot right now, 4-0, just got off the sweep of the Portland. Was that because of the matchup they had against Portland, though, or was that because you honestly think they have the talent to? Was it just that New Orleans is a better team, or do you think it was just the right matchup for New Orleans?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, where it was like, yeah, the Pelicans played up for this one, but they also got the right matchup. They got possibly besides maybe the Spurs, but the Spurs even beat the Warriors, so I can't slight them. They won one game when most of us thought they would sweep. I think they just got the, how do I want to phrase this, the lowest, like, red-hot team, the team that was, like, the coldest almost, coming in, where it was like, yeah, Jazz and Thunder will be good, Rockets will beat the T-Wolves, but the T-Wolves can come in and play well, where it was like Pelicans, although I picked the Blazers because I thought the backcourt would be better. A lot of people thought that as well, besides you guys who both picked Pelicans. And the Pelicans just got a good matchup with, hey, it's Dame and CJ, shut them down, and what else do they got? They got nothing compared to us.
I'd like to give some credit to the coaching, to be entirely honest with you. I think they game planned it so well. They pretty much were like, we're going to double Dame. We'll shut him down. Go ahead and beat us with someone else. I dare you. See how CJ can carry the load for the whole game. CJ played well, but CJ can't win a game on his own. Nurkic had moments, but he got in foul trouble often because that's the other thing you have to account for with Anthony Davis is with him down low in the paint, he causes contact like crazy. So with him there, with Rondo driving through the lane, like you get so many opportunities for fouls.
And I mean, Draymond got in foul trouble against the Spurs a little bit in that series.
Exactly. I think that's one of the things. Like I think matchup-wise, it was ideal because I think Drew Holiday had been slept on for the majority of the year as being one of the best two-way guards in the league. Obviously, like after his first month and a half, he really turned it on. And then Rondo, just playoff Rondo.
And maybe this is an asinine question here, but I'm gonna throw it out there. You guys can shut it down. Which backcourt is better, a hurt Steph Curry and Klay Thompson or playoff Rondo. Again, it's playoff Rondo. And Drew Holiday.
I'm going Golden State all day, every day.
Really?
All day, every day. Like, until you
it was
prove
Steph
me,
Curry and Klay Thompson.
until you
It's
prove me
hurt
wrong,
Steph, though. That's the thing.
I'll take a hurt Steph over, like, not a hurt Steph over an 100% Steph, but I will take I will take a hurt Steph.
Bold call.
I will take a hurt Steph.
I'll take
over,
a two-legged LeBron James over a one-legged LeBron James.
Okay. But I will take a hurt Steph over the majority of point guards in this league. That is how good Steph can be, especially in the playoffs.
There's a lot of good point guards in this league.
I mean, I get it. You're going.
Is it that wide of a gap, Dave?
I don't think there's that. Look, they're very good. They're very good, but they're also the best thing about the way the Warriors offense works is it's ball movement, it's pick and roll, and it's using the screens, how they so effective. So if
getting switches for mismatches.
That's pick and roll. So if they go through and honestly, I think the one thing that they killed Dame and CJ on was they went over on the majority of screens, and then they had AD act as a floater. So he basically was playing off person and just able to kind of be in between. He's still guarding between them and the net. So that way, if they want to take the under, be my guest, you run into Anthony Davis. If you want to take the over, get chased and have to dump off to someone else, gives AD enough time because he's quick, like you said. He's quick enough to get back to his man. So I think that coaching will play a decent part into this if they're able to do similar things that they were able to lock down from the Portland series. I think it'll be closer. I still want to go with Klay and Steph, but I think the gap is slimmer than people expect because of the level of defense being played by Drew and Rondo.
Well, and obviously that's going to slow down the guard play, but then again, we go back to Kevin Durant. Now, now maybe, again, this is a little bit crazy because he's so big, but, I mean, it's not that much of a height difference. Would you put Anthony Davis on Kevin Durant or at least try it?
I think you have to give it a shot. I mean, you have the wingspan of Anthony Davis. Like you said, height-wise, they're close. Wingspan, they're close. Like, it just the best physical matchup for them. My concern is I would eat it. Like I said earlier, I would eat it. If I put Nico on Draymond Green, I'd be 100% okay if Draymond Green's the guy who beats me because he can't do it night in and night out. He was incredibly hot in the playoffs last year. I don't think he's that guy every year. This year, shooting-wise, he's fallen off pretty well. So I think he's back to normal. So if I'm going in, I'm hiding Nico on Draymond. I'm putting AD on KD, and we'll see what happens. Like, it's a series. That's a nice thing. So there's no reason to not give it a shot for a night, half a game, whatever it is. See how it works out. See how they change. That's why I love series in basketball because it's so much mind games and coaching around it.
Wait 1 second. And the thing that you just mapped out was why I will pick the Warriors in this series is because, it's like, all right, I'll put AD on KD, and then, Draymond gets Nico. You're not going to shut down all three of Steph Thompson, and Durant. Like, they're going to get their points, and then if you add Draymond Green getting some offense because Nico's guarding him, that is not going to help you as well. Like, they are so, like, even the second unit. Like, to me, if the Pelicans want to win this game, they have to win the second unit when all four of Green, Durant, Klay, and Steph are not on the court.
They'll never be off
no,
on the
I mean,
court.
like,
They'd rotate.
No, I know that.
When they're not on
when
the
they're
court
on
together.
at the same time.
So when you have like three of them on,
yeah,
or two of them on.
Two of them on.
Just clarifying.
Yeah.
But one thing that I was going to bring up was if you do have, let's say the best four players against the Pelicans and the best four players against the Warriors defensively matched up. So you have Nico on Draymond, you have AD on KD, you're going to have Rondo on Curry, and then you're going to have Drew on Klay. The one thing is going to be who's going to be the fifth starter for both teams, because we see JaVale getting minutes in that last game and getting the start. He got 14 minutes and he got the start in that San Antonio game, but we also saw Andre Iguodala get time and get starts as well. He's been, he had a couple of good games. He had some games where he was pretty lackluster. He hasn't been that great this season. But what do you think the fifth starter is going to be for this Warrior team? And then how do the Pelicans counteract that? Because are you going to go with Nico, AD, and then throw another big man into that system? Or are you going to throw another like a Meccan Okafor in there coming off the bench? I mean, like what's going to be the game plan?
They roll with 3-1 more in the first round, all 4 games. I think that's. You can't go double big against the Warriors without having
Yeah.
No, without having Boogie in there. Like he's a unique big man. I don't think that you want to get someone like Emeka Okafor in there alongside AD. I think that's could slow up your play too much and be hurtful because the speed at which the Warriors play and they can turn games around is incredible. So you don't want to have a situation where they're able to take fast breaks to you every single time because they will just ramp the speed up and kill you with that pace. So I think that they rolled with Etuan Moore in the first round. It worked out pretty well. I think you go back to that well and see how he matches up. I mean, again, it's going to be a mismatch no matter what you do, but at least it will put you in a better position than it will like putting out another big like Okafor out there. Even in limited minutes, I'm still concerned about having him with Anthony Davis in just a too big of a lineup.
So if they do go Etuan Moore and they counteract that with the JaVale McGee, I mean, that's pretty much going to take that, the Anthony Davis on KD ability away, or it's going to take away. It's going to take Nico away. So I mean, you're going to have Draymond and Etuan matching up. I mean, that's going to be, again, you're going to, you keep saying Draymond.
Beat me with Draymond.
But also Draymond against Etuan Moore, that's not fair. I mean, Draymond with his body, Draymond inside 5 feet away is going to be able to bully down Etuan Moore.
That's why you have help defense?
Oh, but is AD then going to come off KD, and then you're going to, that's
because you're going to leave someone
that's
wide open.
Where the Warriors going to be able to pick him. Yeah, I know.
Every single play is different. You can't say this is a script. It has to be done every single play like this. With rotations the way they work, with help defense, people busting into temporary zones. Like, there's so much going on coaching-wise. We're saying these matchups are like
but the Warriors
stapled together. It's never the case.
The Warriors are also great with the extra pass. So it's like, oh, we got the help defense, boom, boom. All right, someone's wide open, 3 made.
And usually if Draymond's making that pass, you're either going to end on Durant, you're going to end on Thompson, you're going to end on Curry, and we know how dangerous those guys from the outside. What are your thoughts on the fifth starter?
For me, the fifth starter, I want to lean more towards JaVale McGee just because he has size and he has been playing well in this Warrior system, but part of me feels like they might go to, I could see them go JaVale for game 1, and then it's like if they feel like they need more of an experience, go to a Andre Iguodala, because he brings the experience of being in playoff series and playing well in playoff series as well. So I would maybe lean JaVale and then go to Andre if things don't work out in game 1. Because the big thing is, will Steph Curry even play game 1? I think he is, because I don't know why you're ramping up the practice with no, if there's nothing like, oh man, this looks really bad, he's going to play. And they feel very positive after the practices.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Go ahead.
It's going to be, I am glad that Zaza Pachulia is not in the mix. Did not play any of those games against San Antonio. Maybe it's unprofessional, but I'm just glad.
Kawhi was out. They didn't need him to guard Kawhi.
I am glad not to see Zaza Pachulia in the playoffs. I hope we don't see him. But that was just a little remark I wanted to make. But Dave, Ricky's pretty confident that Steph's going to play game 1. Are you confident as well?
I have no idea. 100%. It's seriously no clue. It's Steve Kerr. Like he could play him, he could not.
Do they need him to play game 1?
Yes.
No. Really, you're so locked in as Warriors are going to blow out this series. It's not close.
No,
but he needs to play game 1.
No. It's only a blowout if he plays. If he doesn't play, the Pelicans, like I said earlier, it's a 4 or 5 game series. If Steph plays, it's a 6-7 game series with maybe the Pelicans winning. This is if he doesn't.
Still a banged up Steph. Again, he could be ramping up that practice, but that does not mean he's not going to be
better than no Steph.
But also,
I don't know. If he gets re-injured because his ankles are made of glass, do you want a banged up Steph out there?
But then they would have no Steph. So
But then also, let's go back to the 2015-2016 series. That was not Steph. The first couple games against Cleveland, he was not looking like the same Steph Curry. And then also the first game that he came back, I think it was in that against Portland. He sat out the Houston series. Or sat out most of the Houston series. I think he played game 1, then sat out the next 3, then came back in that first Portland game. I think he only put up 2 points, and we're like, all right, we're not ready to bring Steph back. I think that is definitely a possibility. And if you lose that first game and you bring Steph back, I think that's got to give the Pelicans an extra charge because, all right, Steph's down and we just beat them. And then if Steph comes back and they try to bring him back again, we already proved that if Steph comes back, we can beat him because he's not 100%.
How I look at this series is a Warriors team, like Dave brought up, what if Steph gets injured? Well, you don't have Steph then. You didn't have Steph before. If you're very confident in his practicing, you feel like he's ready to come back. Having Steph out there is a good thing rather than having him not on the floor.
But
if he is not on the floor,
2 more days of rest, 3 more days of rest to where he can
you
shore
could
up
be
those
down
ankles.
at that point. You could lose a game. You could lose 2 games.
But are you that
me.
concerned? I thought this was the Pelicans are a blow-off opponent compared to the Warriors.
Like I said, if Steph
Yeah,
plays.
so when he comes back and plays, then the 4-0.
Well, Dave's saying if he sits out
one
game, then it's going to change that to they're going to have to win 4 straight. And then also if they have the momentum winning the first game, the Pelicans, and Steph Curry isn't 100%, does that change your mindset? Are you just saying if Steph Curry plays at all in this series, they're going to win every single game or close to every single game? I think he needs to
play game 1. Now, if he sits out game 1, all right, it might not be the end of the world because even if the Pelicans go 0-1, the series is not over after 1 game. But if he sits out more than that 1 game, then I would be concerned, and then I would give the Pelicans a shot in this series. For me, I feel like everything I've heard, they're very confident in Steph Curry, looking like he's coming back. I think he's going to play game 1 because having him out here is better than not having him out there, and he is the linchpin in giving the Warriors an easier series against the Pelicans.
So you're not worried about him re-injuring that MCL?
Well, I mean, you can't worry about it that much because he can come back game 1 and re-injure it, or he can sit out 2 games and re-injure it. Like, it could be a freak thing that re-injures it. So I'm not even going to worry. It's how do you feel?
It's a sprain.
Yeah, but it's how do you feel in the practices? How are you looking? Like, it would be different if they were like, whoa, we don't feel that confident in it. No, we're going to shut you down.
But let's flash back. I mean, Steph Curry, how many do you think Steph Curry is going to say? I was going to say Flesh Curry. Do you think Steph Curry is ever going to say, no, I don't want to play?
No,
I mean, that doesn't seem in his nature.
I'm not saying Steph. I'm saying the team. The team has said they're very positive, especially after yesterday's practice.
We've seen guys hide injuries. I mean, if Steph's going to push himself in practice and look like he's okay out there, the doctors have no way to not clear him. I mean, again, if he's out there moving, he could still be in pain and grimacing. And then if he goes and starts trying to play at game level, near 30 minutes, that's where it's going to start aggravating himself. That's where he might not feel comfortable out there.
Have we ever had that problem with the Warriors training staff?
I mean, he was, again, going back to 2015, 2016, those first 3 games against the Cavs, he was not Steph Curry. And then also going back to the beginning of that 2015, 2016 series,
the difference
he was not the same Steph.
The difference there, you said Cavs. That means NBA Finals. There was no way he was going to miss a Finals game.
Round 1, he missed 3 games, and then
he missed all of round 1 this year.
And then round 2, he came back for that first game and looked terrible, and then sat it out because he wasn't healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you don't want a setback. That's the thing I'm thinking is you give him the extra day or 2 of rest and let him strengthen up. I mean, it makes a difference.
But you don't want the setback, and then also the whole thing is Steph has proven before that he's always wanted to play. He's never going to say he doesn't want to play. And he's also proven that he's come back way too early. He came back too early in 2015, 2016 and showed that he wasn't the same Steph Curry. That's the point I'm trying to make. Again, he can be uncomfortable out there and, again, still want to play because he's the leader of this Warriors team.
You got to put this into consideration also. This is a tougher second-round matchup than they had last year. I would say.
Well, that was the Houston series in 2015, 2016.
I would say this is a tougher matchup than they had last year because that was a Houston team without CP.
But then just playing devil's advocate, I think just using logic, wouldn't you rather, again, for a tougher competition, rather be 100% than, 85%? I don't think it's going to drastically change over a couple days, but again, just saying that.
If he's good enough to play, I would put him out there because I trust Steph Curry. I trust him. Like that would be me as Steve Kerr. Are you good enough to play? How do you think it feels? How do we think it feels by watching you practice? Because just having him out there can help this team.
Predictions for the series between the Pelicans and Warriors. Go.
I'm going to say Steph Curry plays game 1, and how it'll go is the Warriors will jump out 3-0, Pelicans will win game 4, and then the Warriors will wrap it up in game 5.
Dave, final thoughts on the Curry injury. Will he play game 1, the matchup between the Pelicans and Warriors, and then also give us a prediction?
Totally going to cop out on the Curry thing since this will go up after game 1's over. So I don't know. Whatever happens in that game. But I honestly think this is a series that's going 6 or 7. I think matchup-wise, it's so intriguing. Like we said, the back and forth of, how do you go AD versus KD, that chess match of offense and defense. And the thing is, I think it's going to be Warriors in 6 or 7. I think this team from the Pelicans is so good, but at the same time, they shot so incredibly well. I don't know if that's sustainable.
And what are your thoughts on just Steph Curry in general then? Are you thinking he's 100% in this series and they're still going to go 6-7, or are you thinking he's still going to be nagged by the injury and that's why
I think he'll get off to a slow start.
Okay.
I think he does slow start, yeah.
I agree with you on the slow start, but just thinking more about the defensive pairings, I know Drew Holiday was unreal in that Portland series. I know Rajon Rondo, again, is playoff Rondo now. He just flips that switch. And I know Anthony Davis is, again, a top 3 player, or a top 5 player, maybe even. I don't know about top 3 because, again, when Steph, when healthy, we've seen how dangerous he could be, and Kevin Durant's obviously too. But, again, being a top player in Anthony Davis, it's tough to go against him. April Nico. But taking all that in, this is still the Warriors. Last year, they didn't lose a game, or they lost, they didn't lose a game last year in the playoffs, and they just lost their first one to the Spurs, and that was without Steph Curry. That was without the depth they had last year. I'm going to go Warriors in 5 if Steph is fine the game 1, and I'll go if he sits out game 1, I'll say Warriors in 6. But I think they're going to pretty much steamroll like you kind of think they are.
And just an update, Steph did partake in 5-on-5 today. And him and Kerr, all good things, felt positive with it.
Yeah, but he's still questionable, and I know you mentioned that like with the Patriots,
it's questionable.
Saying questionable is just that. But we'll see what happens with Steph Curry if he plays game 1. Let us know what you think about the Pelicans and the Warriors. How long will it go? Will Steph Curry be healthy? Can the Pelicans pull off another upset? Dave and I picked the upset, but still it was a lower seed versus a higher seed. This would be a true upset, though, if the Pelicans win that.